Good morning, and thank you for joining us. Actually, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're seeing this, and thank you for joining us. My name is Victor Ihunka, and today on this segment we have here with us Dr. Mary Nyangweso. Dr. Mary is the JCR Peel Distinguished Professor of Religious Studies at East Carolina University. Good morning, Dr. Mary. Good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for joining us. How are you feeling this morning?
I am very good. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, Dr. Mary is the convener of the Diaspora Pan-African Black History Celebration happening at East Carolina University as part of the Black History Month celebration events, and that would be from February the 27th, February the 28th, and March the 1st of this year 2026. So Dr. Mary, thank you for joining us again. To start, can you tell us what the Diaspora Pan-African Black History Celebration is and how this conference came to be?
So Diaspora Pan-African International Conference came to be because Africans who live in the diaspora decided that we need to be part of the celebrations of Black history, which is of course part of who we are as Black people essentially. And at ECU, I teach African religions, and as a professor of African religions, I felt that I needed to participate in the celebrations of Black history. And alongside my students and the International Students Organization at East Carolina University, we came together and decided, why don't we have conversations about Black history alongside celebrating the event itself. So the conference came about needing to respond to some of the questions about the history of Black people. And my colleagues, I have colleagues who live in California, in Africa, decided, why don't we have a conference to kind of try to address some of those questions. So the conference began through conversations.
Wow, that's amazing. That brings me to the next question about the conference and the programs we should expect. So this year's theme centers on Pan-Africanism and Black history, and like you said, you wanted to make that connection and sort of help people see that connection too. What does that theme mean, especially in today's global context? What does, the theme of Pan-Africanism and Black history, mean in today's global context?
Yeah, so the word Pan-Africanism sometimes seems to be a loaded word, but it basically means people of Black, of African descent need to work together for social justice, for self-affirmation, and for unity and collaborate on various issues. And when we celebrate the Black history, essentially we are reminding ourselves about that. We are reminding ourselves about the history of those who went before us, what they did to try and bring us together, to seek self-affirmation, to get respect that we need as people of African descent. And so Pan-Africanism might seem as people associated with the movement that began in the early 20th century, but it's still relevant given the theme that it's talking about: working together, collaborating, trying to help our communities, trying to make sure our education fulfills the needs that we have as people of African descent. So it's about collaboration.
That's amazing. Collaboration is the word. You heard it. So I understand this is a 3-day event. So there would be programs and panels and dialogue. So what are some of the key programs or panels or dialogues the attendees can expect over the course of the conference?
Yeah, so essentially why we decided to combine the celebration and the conversation was to respond to the questions that most people in the Black community tend to ask about the history of Black people. So the first 2 days will be about addressing some of those questions. We have presenters who will be addressing the question of Pan-Africanism. We have people who will be talking about the education and how education can help the Black community do well. We have people who will be presenting on financial empowerment of the Black community. We have people who will be talking about the legal system and how that can help the Black community. And so there are so many versions. And actually, let me add, we're going to have a storyteller session where we're going to have a storyteller telling stories. Storytelling is a very important component of African community. We pass messages from one generation to the next generation through storytelling. And we are really honored to have a storyteller join us to tell us the story about the Black community. And then the last day, which is the March the 1st, we'll actually have the entire celebration of the Black history heritage. So we will have, of course, storytelling. We're going to have dancers. We are going to have fashion show. We are going to have music sung in African languages, and we are going to play the Pan-African anthem as well.
Oh, there's a Pan-African anthem.
Yeah, there is a Pan-African anthem. So we have all that together to just entertain and have people connect through these themes that connect the Black people.
That's amazing. That's amazing stuff. So, yes, I heard you earlier, you mentioned, scholars will be coming, you're bringing together scholars from different parts of the world, Nigeria, Kenya, and other parts of the United States. So let me ask you this: why was it important for this to be an international dialogue rather than a local conversation? Why was that important?
That's very good, because when people of African descent live everywhere on the globe. And when we speak about Pan-Africanism, essentially the values associated with Pan-Africanism draw from the African heritage. And so anytime we have an international conference on Pan-Africanism, we try to draw from different communities around the world. And in Africa, we have the Institute of Pan-African Dialogue. We're going to have a speaker come from this particular institute to come and join us here to speak about what the institute is doing about Pan-Africanism in Africa. And we have other colleagues, scholars who are experts on this subject that are located in Africa. We have colleagues who are coming from California. We have colleagues who are coming from Kingston, Jamaica, who will be joining us. So we try to make it as global as possible, and that's the reason we call it international, because we have representation from different parts of the continent.
That's amazing. So, moving on, I'd like for us to talk a bit about the significance and the impact of this conference. In your view, why is Pan-Africanism still relevant, especially for young people and students today? Why is it still a very relevant topic or a very relevant theme in today's world, especially for young people and students?
Yes, it is really important to remember that Pan-Africanism, even though it's an ideology, it's also an intellectual framework through which you can analyze different disciplines, starting with politics, economics, history, language, sociology, all the other areas that you want to analyze. You can use it as an intellectual framework for analysis to understand the history of people of African descent. And if you want to understand them, you really have to use this as an ideology of analysis. Yes, there was a movement associated with it that happened many, many years ago, but the central message within Pan-Africanism was about social justice. And I think social justice is something that we continue to struggle with today, and therefore we want to pass on the mantle to the younger generation. As long as there is injustice in society, I think you're going to need Pan-Africanism as an ideology to try and strategize on how to deal with issues of discrimination, issues of inequalities, class inequalities, racial inequalities, gender inequalities, and many other social inequalities. So it is a framework that transcends just the Black people, actually, and other people who are not related or connected to the Black history can still utilize that framework to address social injustices or speak about occurrences that are happening in the world.
Oh, wow.
And the younger people are very interested in this subject these days. There are so many groups that are forming where young people are trying to understand what this ideology is about,
Right.
and they're wanting to use it to learn more about this history. You know, we learn from history.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
the future is dependent on history, and if you want a better future, you have to look back. You do
Right.
have to do sankofa.
Right.
Go back
Yep.
into history to understand the future.
That's amazing. So, moving on to the next question about the significance and the impact of this conference. I've had people say that every day is Black History, you know, and I guess I wanted to ask, how does this conference, this, you know, how does this collaboration, how does these themes of Pan-Africanism and all of this, how does it contribute to broader conversations about Black history, about identity, which is a big part of the Black experience or the African experience, and the African diaspora beyond February or Black History Month? How does this conference contribute to the broader conversations about Black history, identity, and the African diaspora beyond just February or Black History Month?
That's a very good point. It is true, when we come together to celebrate Black history in February, it is just, I think, a month that is dedicated to us looking back.
Right,
To
Sankofa.
Sankofa, looking back and reflecting on our history. It doesn't mean that the Black experience is limited to February.
Right.
No, the Black experience, Black history experience is an everyday experience.
Right.
We live every day, but we decided every year we need to get together to reflect on this, appreciate this, appreciate our contributions in society, appreciate the knowledge that we possess, and find a way of sharing this knowledge with other people. So it is something to remind us, just like ritual. It's like a ritual that reminds us, do not forget your history. Do not forget who you are. Do not forget that you essentially are connected to many other people who lived before you, and that the future and the younger generations also rely on you to pass on that message.
That's amazing. So I think this is a good segue into the organizations sponsoring this or collaborating to make this event happen. So I'm sure we know about the ECU, International Student Association, but I'd like for you to tell us a bit about the Diaspora Pan-African Center and its mission beyond this conference.
So Diaspora Pan-African Center is essentially a think tank of scholars who decided to come together. Excuse me.
Very good.
We decided to come together as scholars who want to really focus this Pan-African ideology as a framework, as an intellectual framework that can be utilized to empower and strategize on how to help people of African descent.
Okay.
And who live everywhere in the global world. And so it is an organization that seeks membership, and you can become a member and you can join one of the different groupings that we have. We have, segments on economics, segments on politics, we have segments on gender equality, we have segments on knowledge, education, so many other segments that need people to join and strategize to address different concerns that we have in the African communities. So the center itself is being sponsored by your contributions. If you join as a member, essentially you are supporting this center to educate and empower people of African descent on knowledge and the history of people of African descent. If you go onto our website, which I think can be highlighted later on, you're going to see that we have created some videos and we have some podcasts that are listed on there trying to educate people on this history. And we need to grow more of this. And so your support is really needed to try and grow this community and educate in whichever way we can about the history of people of Black of African descent.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yes. We'll be winding down now, but before anything, I'd like to ask you who should attend this conference and why would you encourage ECU students and the wider community to be part of it? Who is this conference for?
So the conference essentially is a public event.
Oh, okay.
And as a public event, we encourage ECU students to come, students who in history department, political science, other sociology, other areas that are interested in the history of African people are all welcome to come and attend. We encourage the public to come and participate in the celebration of the culture, the language, music, art. We're going to have fashion show as well.
Oh, wow.
I don't know whether I mentioned that.
Yes, you did.
And we're going to have all those segments culminating into the experience of people of African descent. So everybody is welcome. Please join us. Go onto the website. If you look at the flyer that is being passed around, there's a section where you can join us and support the event, or you can come and participate. Come and join us. Come and ask all those questions you have.
That's amazing. So, how can people get involved, whether by attending, supporting, or staying connected with the Diaspora Pan-African Center after this event?
Yeah, I think there is a website,
Okay.
diasporapanafricancenter.com.
Okay.
I think it's .org.
Okay, .org?
Yeah,
Okay.
so if you go onto that website, you're going to see where you can either sponsor the event,
Yes.
or you can essentially become a member
Okay.
of the center, or you can essentially just donate to the event. If you want to donate anonymously, if you want to donate and let us list you up, we're going to list you on the website to recognize the support that you are giving us.
Amazing.
So you are all welcome to be
Okay.
part of this.
Yeah, so one final question. In one sentence, what do you hope people feel when they leave the conference?
I'm looking forward to people saying, this was worth it. This was powerful. This was empowering.
Wow. That's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Mary Nyangweso, JCRPO Distinguished Professor of Religious Studies at East Carolina University. And that's all from us today on this segment. I'm still your man, the McCall, Victor Ihuka. Thank you.